Once you have the desired height for your Viking Longship, now just make sure all of your coils are pressed together, smooth anything out that you need to, and then we're going to make ours a little bit narrower just by gently pressing in, and then to make it a Longship, gently press out on those edges to pull it a little bit longer and then pinch the edges closed. All right, so next, I'm going to be adding those shields to the side, just like the Vikings would hang their shields on the side of the boat. So just with some extra clay, I first roll a ball and then press it flat. You may notice your clay cracking a little bit. Just get a little bit of water and rub that in kind of like lotion. And you can do as many of these shields as you want, but I'm just going to do 3 so that I have enough room to fit them all. And I'm trying to make them all about the same size circle. Now before I add these on, I'm going to decorate them. So you can either add pieces on by scoring and slip to add pieces on, or you can take a wooden skewer with the pointy end to draw your designs on. That part can be kind of tricky because the clay likes to pill up, so you may have to go over your lines a few times. Make it a challenge for yourself to have all of your shields be a little bit different. Just for the sake of time though, I'm going to do a couple of mine the same. If you want to skip this step completely and paint yours with a design later, that's fine too. That's up to you. It just adds some extra dimension when you add the pieces on or scratch into your clay. Okay, when you're ready to attach these to your ship, you'll want to score and slip with your toothbrush the side of the ship first and then the back side of your shield. Now keep in mind, when you do this, you may smush out some of the designs on your shield and you may have to go back and redo a little bit of that, but that's okay. All right, let me hold this up so you can see one side. There we go. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, but you've already seen this process, so I'm going to speed up the video a little bit, making my circles, rolling them into a ball first and then smushing them flat, then designing them by scratching in with a wooden skewer, attaching pieces on by score and slip, and then adding them to the side of my ship with score and slip. After your shields are done and attached, start thinking about the figurehead that you want to add, whether that be a dragon or something else. Start with kind of a thick coil that you can form into your figurehead. And I'm going to do a dragon, and I'm starting by taking a popsicle stick right on the end of that coil to make the mouth shape. And then I'm going to use another tool to try to open up the mouth a little bit more and make it more of a circle on the inside. Now, you can Google different figureheads or different dragons to base yours off of. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing, and in fact I prefer that you use your own creativity, but if you're feeling stuck and you need some help, you can watch this video to show you how I did my dragon. Alright, so that's the mouth, and next I'm going to use that same wooden skewer, the pointy end, to poke in some nostrils right above the mouth. And I want it to look like there's those bumps around the nostrils, so I'm just using the popsicle stick to make a line in between, and then using my finger to press behind the nostrils just so it looks like those kind of dragon noses where the smoke can come out. Alright, I'm going to take 2 little balls of clay and use them for eyes. which I'm going to score and slip onto the face of my dragon. Really press and kind of twist them on, that way you know they're going to stay. And then again, once I have these on here, I'm going to use that wooden skewer to poke holes for the inside of the eyes. Alright, I want my dragon to look like it has bumps along the top of its head and neck. You could maybe make it look like yours has spikes. I'm sure there's lots of different ways to do this. You could have some that are varying in height. Maybe some are really big, some are small. You could even add ears this way just by pinching your clay with your fingers. And one last step that I'm going to do is make it look like there's scales on my dragon head, which you can achieve by taking the blunt end of your skewer or a popsicle stick and overlapping, pressing in just the end to create a U shape, and then overlapping a series of those to make it look like scales. Just gives it some really great texture. I'm going to do that to the other side and underneath the dragon as well. Full disclosure, this is the third dragon head that I filmed. I had to eventually go on Google and look up one that would help me make this. I wasn't very happy with the dragons I made, so definitely use your resources. You might not like the one that I made, but you can find a design that you like better. The main goal though is to not make it really, really thin and flimsy because it could break off. Alright, so I think mine is ready to attach. But I know that I've got way too much extra clay on the base of the neck, so you may have to pinch that smaller, roll it out a little bit smaller. You may just even have to take some off so that it will fit. And then once you have it, maybe open up that end a little bit more and score the inside of that side of your ship. And then score the underside of your dragon neck or your figurehead. And then smooth that down in there. Now again, as you're doing this, like me, you may have realized that you've got too much extra clay, and it's not too late to pinch some of that off. And then smooth that down in there. If your fingers aren't small enough, use a tool like a popsicle stick to smooth out the clay inside of your ship. Now, like usual, in the process of adding your figurehead, you may have accidentally messed up some of your parts of your dragon like I did. Take some time to fix that. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to do the tail next. The tail is pretty simple. You basically just roll out a coil and make one end really skinny, kind of like a carrot for the tip of your tail. It's better to have your coil be a little bit too long, that way you can remove some later. Now, I have seen pictures of Viking longships where the tail curls up on the end of the ship. However, that is your risk to take. In my personal experience, if the tail is up, it's more likely to get too fragile and break later. So I'm going to be curling mine under just to prevent it from breaking so easily. Now, when you bend your clay, you may notice that the clay wants to crack. I am going to add the details to the tail after I attach it, so I'm using scoring and slip on the inside of that end of the ship and then underneath the tail. And again, use a little bit of water to smooth out any cracks you may have, and then attach on the inside and smooth it out so it looks seamless. All right. So then now that I have it attached, I'm going to add some texture and some ridges along the spine of the tail. So just like I did with the dragon head, I'm going to pinch right along the top side of the tail so it looks like there's some ridges right there. Let me show you what that looks like so far. Pretty good, but like I did with the dragon head, I'm going to use a tool, so you can either use the flat side of the wooden dowel or a popsicle stick and press in some texture so it looks like there's some scales on the tail. Alright, so fast forward, here is my finished Viking Longship. You can add as many details or smooth things out as you want, but I kind of like how bumpy and old it looks when I don't really mess around with it too much. And we have one more step to do, which is to add the hole for the mast. Obviously, we can't add the mast until after it's gone through the kiln. But just take a tool like a wooden skewer or the end of that needle tool and make a hole right in the middle of the base of your ship. And we'll add the skewer and some paper for the sail later.